What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react to this video where a Canadian who actually moved to the United States shares what she calls one of the biggest cultural differences between Canada and the US. So, honestly, I usually hear about Americans who want to move to Canada, to escape the madness here and all that. So, I'm actually very curious to hear what a Canadian who decided to move here has to say about, what she has seen and learned and observed about Americans and the comparison between Canadian and American culture. So let's take a look.
So I've been living in the US for almost 2 years now. And one of the most interesting things I've noticed is this cultural difference that's hard to put your finger on at first. And it's
Oh,
that Canadians are nice, but Americans are kind.
oh, oh, okay. Thank you. Uh, I think I wasn't expecting that. That's very nice of you. That's why you get that's why you're known as nice. And literally in this comparison, it's not Canadians are nice, but Americans are kind. Is there a difference between that? Those are different words, but they're very, very similar. Nice and kind. But I'll take it. My God, I'll take it. Oh, I mean, people around the world are saying all sorts of things about Americans right now, certainly, with a lot of the stuff that's been going on. Um, and I think I'm aware of the American sort of stereotype, like that we're known for being, like rude or loud, so inconsiderate in that sense, and ignorant, certainly guilty of that. So to say that she thinks Americans are kind, um, that's high praise, especially coming from a Canadian. I'll take that. Okay.
And those aren't the same thing. And I've taken some time to
Huh.
think about it, so stick with me here. Let me start with Canada, because that's how I grew up and that's what feels normal to me. Canadian
Okay.
culture is built around a specific kind of social contract. Don't inconvenience other people, follow the rules, and maintain pleasant surfaces.
Whoa. Okay. This is the Canadian social code or something, or what happens if you disobey? What if you break these rules? Like rule number 2 is follow the rules. What if you don't? What do you do? Or I don't want to know. But obviously, like maybe some of this is like a generalization a bit, but for the sake of conversation, sometimes you gotta generalize. So let's go with this. Canadians are nice. That is certainly what most Americans think of when we think of Canada. Um, I don't know if you guys get kind of sick of that, but I think it's a really wonderful thing to be known for. But I know you guys get told that a lot. Um, so, number one, don't inconvenience other people. Ha! Ha! Americans we are so guilty of this. Oh my God. So this is what you got to do to be nice, then we are not nice. Oh my God. Amer- not all Americans are bad, but by far. But my God, it's like a lot of people here just aren't concerned with how they affect other people. Like I think a lot of us Americans are taught to just like be very not selfish, but self-centered, or let's call it self-focused. Very focused on ourselves. And that even like perpetuates in like the hustle, like you gotta win, you gotta be the best, you gotta do whatever it takes to hustle and grind and win. And we're definitely taught that. So I think that somehow extends into this like we inconvenience other people for our own personal gain. I think that's totally true, whether we even realize it or not. Follow the rules. Um, that's what you need to do to be nice. Americans like breaking the rules. I don't know. And not just as like teenagers. There's something definitely. I think Americans take pride in having like a rebellious or, spirit or something like that. Three, maintain pleasant surfaces. Like it's just surface level? And we're talking about Canada here, right? Because I like that you don't inconvenience other people. I like that you want to follow the rules and maintain order. I love that. But maintain pleasant surfaces almost makes it sound like it's just surface level that you're being pleasant. Is it not sincere?
It's about minimizing friction in public spaces, which is arguably nice. In Canada, there's a greater respect for rule following, and this shows up everywhere.
I don't mind that at all. Um, yeah, certainly here, and maybe I'm also getting influenced a little bit by Trump these days because he has made it his thing to break the rules. Um, and at first, I think a lot of Americans kind of respected that and kind of liked it. Like, oh, here's this, who knows what he's going to do? Or he's not like other politicians, or, and obviously in the last couple of years and the last couple of months, it's just become insane and much too far. And yeah, we don't need to get into all that, but um, I think now more than ever, I'm starting to appreciate the respect for rule following. Not that you have to be some kind of dork or like just follow. You gotta obey the rules, but it's like yes, to a large extent for like civilized society to function, you do. Yes.
Canadians are incredibly rule following in public spaces. If you're at the airport and they call boarding for zone 3, people in zone 4 are not getting up. They're waiting their turn. And on
Huh.
public transit, there's a quiet understanding that you keep to yourself, don't take up too much space, and you always apologize if you bump into somebody.
Wow. I this is different cuz it's not like all Americans are angry or aggressive, or it's just that we don't even think to do these things, or we don't even think of them as rude. Like at the airport when they're calling the different seats, people are cutting in line, people are standing up when it's not their turn. People are so impatient, and that is just expected behavior. We don't even think of it as weird. Like bugging people on the bus, not really considered weird. Yeah. Huh.
Social pleasantries are paramount. That's why saying sorry is practically a reflex for Canadians. I still
Huh.
can't get rid of it, even after living in the States for 2 years.
Saying sorry is definitely not a reflex in the US. It's actually something we're very reluctant to do. We have figured out words around it, like saying, oh, excuse me, oh, my bad, oh, you're good, no problem, anything but saying sorry. That's definitely true.
I apologize to everyone when I don't even do things wrong. We do other things, like holding doors, saying thank you for everything, and making small talk with cashiers, but in a very scripted way that's never beyond how are you and maybe the weather.
So I get the sense that she's kind of criticizing this aspect of Canadian culture a little bit, where she's saying there is an expectation to be nice. Like it's not always genuine, because it's like, but you could say that about anything, though, right? Like any behavior or manners or anything, how you act is usually taught. So it's like you can't call everything an act or insincere just because you're taught it. But being nice and kind is certainly one of those things where people like want it to be genuine. But I don't actually have any problem with it being like scripted or like you bump into someone and you're like, I'm sorry for that. Like that you feel obligated to say that. I don't have any problem with that, actually. I don't know.
It's all designed to create this smooth, low friction environment where everyone is pleasant to each other and nobody is bothering anybody else.
I'm okay with that. I feel like she's trying to make it sound like kind of a bad thing, or I don't know. I don't know.
But here's the thing. Beyond those pleasantries, like I said, Canadians really keep to themselves. The niceness is about not imposing on others, not about actively helping. It's more of a hands off approach to public life. So now, the reverse of that. Let's talk about what I've experienced in the United States, because I feel
Okay.
like it's really different. Public spaces in America are arguably higher friction. Americans are less concerned with following the rules if they don't think those rules apply to them or don't make sense.
Absolutely true. Public spaces can be chaotic. If they're telling you, don't touch this, don't go on that, keep your kids off this, people will not care. They will act like it's their property. The public spaces can be crazy here. Yes,
The airport boarding thing is a perfect example. Airlines call zone 2, and half of zone 4 is already lining up. There's this
absolutely.
sense of, I'm going to do what works for me rather than I need to follow the system so that everybody else has a smooth experience.
Absolutely true. That's hitting the nail on the head right there, I think. A lot of Americans have a mentality of like, well, I'll just get in line and maybe it'll benefit me, even if it's not my turn. Whatever. Like, and I don't like that. I have to admit, I do not like that. I think there's a maybe you can be too nice and too performative, but you can also be just inconsiderate and not care at all about society, the rest of society. I guess it's about finding the balance.
It's more individualistic, direct, and sometimes more abrasive. Americans also don't have the same culture of constant social pleasantries. Interactions can be more blunt. People are more likely
Yeah.
to just do their thing without worrying as much about whether they're inconveniencing you.
Blunt is that's a good observation. Huh. Some of this stuff I like haven't even ever really thought about, but she has made some very good observations, very accurate. I agree. Our interactions can be very blunt, and maybe that makes it more authentic. So it's like, I don't know which is necessarily better, though.
But, and this is the interesting part, and the part a lot of people don't think exists. If you actually ask an
Hmm.
American for help or they see a situation where they can be helpful, they'll often go above and beyond that of a Canadian.
Whoa! Is this controversial? This is high praise. She's actually complimenting this aspect of American behavior over Canadians herself, where she comes from. I was not expecting this. So I'm not here to toot my own horn, but beep, beep, beep. I'll take it.
Americans will offer to take a photo when they see you trying to take a selfie with your family. They'll give you detailed directions when you ask and sometimes walk you partway there. If you're struggling,
You know what it might be? Thinking about this? Because it's not like we're necessarily the nicest people in the world. We're not. But somehow we have an ability, maybe, like, because I've done that where I take a picture for someone or they take a picture for me. And it's like, this is weird, but stick with me. Like, selfishly, we have this attitude of like, I would really love it if somebody would just like take the photo of my family. So I'm going to do that for them because I know I would really like that. So I don't know. Obviously, that's just like being empathetic, but there's something in our selfishness or in knowing what we want that we're able to be like, I know what that person wants. They want me to take a photo. They would love it if I went over and held the door or took the photo, and I know that, so I'm gonna do it. And yeah, not that there's like, and there's genuine like kindness going on there too, but somehow I think our self-centeredness can sometimes make us empathetic because I don't know if that makes sense. That's my theory now.
with something, they'll stop what they're doing and actively help you. There's almost this sense of chivalry. When someone needs help, you step up and you don't do it halfway. It's a different social contract. The expectation isn't don't bother anyone. The expectation is be direct, do your thing, but when someone needs help, you help them for real.
Sure. Sure, yeah, I've had this happen. I think this is true. Like, and oftentimes people will help. People will help and not even expect a thank you. It's really more of like a transaction, like just like a duty. Like, okay, like we're in America, this is what you do. You like, yeah, I'll help you push your car out of the intersection because it ran out of gas or whatever, and then run back to my car and yeah, and I'm sure this stuff happens in Canada as well. And it's like, I don't know, we're kind of splitting hairs here about motivation because humans are so complicated. And so, but it's an interesting observation.
So, what's each system optimized for? Like I said, the Canadian approach creates really smooth public spaces. There's low day to day friction. Everyone follows the same rules and maintains that pleasant surface so you can move around the world knowing roughly what to expect from strangers.
So basically, this is a lot of words and stuff, but I think she's getting at in Canada, in a broad sense, it's really nice and everyone's really pleasant and things go very smoothly in a broad sense, macro. Whereas in the US, sometimes on a small scale, those individual interactions, like helping them pick up their groceries or pick something off the ground, or sometimes like we can be real good at that kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like at the same time you'll find both of this stuff in both countries probably.
It's very comfortable and predictable. But the downside of that is that it can feel distant and almost robotic. The niceness is often surface level. It's
Hmm,
more about not bothering people rather than the genuine connection or going out of your way for someone. And the
interesting.
American approach, like I said, creates higher day to day friction, but deeper substantive helpfulness. You might deal with someone being more direct or abrasive in a normal interaction, but when you actually need something, people show up. The downside is that public spaces definitely feel more chaotic. Everyone's there for themselves. And that rule breaking that comes with individualism means there's a lot less predictability in public spaces.
This is really like I like this. I like this. Whether it's like true or not, or I think there's a lot of truth to this. I can't speak to the Canadian observations that she's making, but I can speak to the American side, and I think this is actually like pretty accurate. So this is real interesting.
Neither system is better. Canadians value collective adherence to social norms and minimal imposition. That's the important part. Americans value individual agency and substantive helpfulness when it matters. So, as a
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. We don't really care about putting on like a happy face, walking around pretending to be nice or whatever. We aren't interested in like that aspect of like the pleasantries or how we affect other people. And so in that sense we're very selfish. But when the time comes where something meaningful happens or someone needs help, a lot of times like people who you think look like they're rude actually are nice and will help you. You'll be real surprised.
Canadian living in the US, I had to recalibrate. I had to learn that it's more than okay to be direct and that people aren't going to be offended if I'm not constantly apologizing or maintaining that pleasant Canadian surface, even
Yeah.
if I still can't help but say sorry when I walk past someone in the grocery aisle. I've also learned to just ask for help more often instead of trying to figure it out on my own because I know that if I ask, people will actually help me. There are definitely some days that I do
Yeah.
miss that lower friction public space culture, though. The sense that everyone's following the same rules and not trying to bother each other. It is still much more respectful, and there's something more comfortable about that. So that's the difference.
Wow. That was real interesting. It's definitely a comparison I've never really heard before between Canadians and Americans and nice versus kind. And it's kind of like talking about our motivations and whether certain things are genuine. And that's really hard to say, you know, and it really varies to the individual. But for the sake of this discussion, this was really cool. And I think her unique perspective as a Canadian living in the US now, and I think she's made some really cool observations. Certainly about Americans, like, yeah, that I have not thought about. So this was really interesting. I haven't heard anything quite like this. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on her comparison between Canadians and Americans. And that'd be cool to hear about, especially from the Canadian side of things. And If you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.